Praise the Lord, everybody. Again, we just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And we just thank God for the love that He has towards us. And we often feel that love coming from our mothers. And those of you that have any mothers present with you, just remember the good things about her life and the things that you shared with her. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I don't borrow from its sunshine, for its skies may turn to gray. I don't worry about the future, for I know what Jesus said. And today, our peace I give, for He knows what lies ahead. Many things about the future I just don't seem to understand. I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my head. There are so many things about tomorrow I just don't seem to understand. I know who holds tomorrow, and yet I know who holds my head. You would turn with me in your Bibles to the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1. Ruth chapter 1. Starting with verse number 6. When you have it, signify by saying amen. Amen. And then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people and giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughters-in-law with her. And they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say, I have hope, if I should have an husband, also tonight, and should also bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieved me much for your sake that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. I'd like to pause there for a second and give you a subject. Our subject for this afternoon is simply entitled, From Broken to Strength, From Empty to Whole. From broken to strength, from empty to whole. Then the Bible says in verse number 14 of Ruth chapter 1, and they lifted up their voice and wept again, and Oprah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whether thou goest, I will go. And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy mother shall be my people. Thy God shall be, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people. And thy God, my God. Where thou diest, will I die. And there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. And when she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. So they two went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said to them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara. For the Almighty hath dealt with me bitterly. For the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me, and I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Why then call ye me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? From broken to strength, from empty to whole. The story of Naomi is one which started out tragic, in the sense that there was a famine in Judah. So Naomi and her husband Elimelech and her two sons went to Moab to find food and to remain alive. And you would think that because they had the means to move from an impoverished country to another country, that things would look well for them. But the Bible says the entire time that Naomi and her husband and her two sons were all of 10 years that they dwelt in Moab. And while there, Naomi's husband died. And while her husband died, her sons took wives of the Moabites, one by the name of Oprah and the other by the name of Ruth. And the Bible says then the boys died, and Naomi was left alone with just her daughters-in-law. But while Naomi was in mourning, she got a word saying that God has visited the land of Judah, and there is plenty of food and crops. So Naomi decided that she would leave Moab and go back to Judah. And while she was going back, she convinced her daughters-in-law that she could not have any more children, and that if they were to go with her, they would probably be without husbands because she could not have any. And the Bible says Oprah kissed her mother-in-law and went back to her home. But Ruth followed after her. What I need you to understand is while Naomi was in a state of mourning, not just one individual, but three, and then a fourth when her daughter-in-law Oprah went back to the Moabites, that she had to be reminded that your state of brokenness is not your permanent existence. Amen. Sometimes when you feel so down and depressed and you feel as though there's no hope for your life, you got to remind yourself where God is. The Bible tells us and points us to a place that as long as Naomi was in a place of brokenness, she couldn't be prosperous in any part of her life. But she realized something as you go to Ruth chapter 2, that she had a cousin that could probably make a husband for Ruth. So let me just say something to you. How heartbreaking it must have been for her, Naomi, to return to Bethlehem without a husband and her two sons. She had left home full of and with anticipation, with each of them by her side. They would step and walk from a broken place of not having to a place plenteous in Moab. And then when they got to Moab, they find tragedy. You would think that in the midst of a new life, you would not have to follow or be followed by sorrows. Have any of you ever tried a new step only to find more problems and more hardship? Have any of you ever decided that if I just leave the place where I am, then I can leave the trouble or the pain behind, only to find that when you get to the new place, there are new troubles and new problems you have to deal with. So there was Naomi, being a woman, a human being, she would have started turning a little bit. What I need this church to realize that in grieving, there are 5 stages that people go through, and one of the stages of grieving is denial. And while we're looking for answers, we begin to borrow. We would say to God, God, could you not have done this thing? And could you have not done that thing? And then there's a stage of anger where we learn to just get angry at the fact that the person left us or how hurt we were. But there is a stage that I like to tell people about called acceptance. When you learn to realize that it was of no fault of my own, nothing I did or did not do that caused them to leave, it is just what time brought to my life. So here it was that Naomi had to go through stages in order to realize that in spite of what I'm being challenged with all the pain, there's still a God on my side. And what I need the church to understand is that as we live in the last days, the Bible says perilous times will come. I want the mothers, as I address you today, don't let time cause you to lose your connection with your God. Don't allow who walks away from you, or don't allow who dies, or don't allow what's taken away from you to cause you to lose your joy, because your joy and your strength is not in things, it's not in people, but it's in God. Naomi almost forgot about that. Because when she came to Bethlehem, the people said, "Is that not Naomi?" And she says, "Call me not Naomi, but call me Mara. For I left this place full, and the Lord has dealt with me, and now I am empty." Now what I need somebody to understand is you can feel empty but still be full. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You don't have no money in your pocket, but you full of hope. You don't have nobody in your house lying next to you, but you still full of joy. Y'all ain't hearing me. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that God always needs us to understand that I am the source of your strength. I am the one who will love you. I'm the one that will keep you. I'm the one that will provide for you. The mistake we make is when we go places and try to find it in people. I don't care who loves you. They can't make you happy. Let me say that again. I don't care who loves you. They can't make you happy. You say, well, whenever my husband comes home, I feel so happy. But what happens when he doesn't come home anymore? What happens the day that he dies? Your happiness has to be found in your relationship with God. You say, Pastor, that sounds crazy, but what I want you to understand is that we can't build ourselves on things that are temporary. You can live with somebody for 50 years and that's still temporary. You said, Pastor, that's a lot of years, but it's still temporary because it has an expiration. But the thing about God is when I'm connected with him, it is eternal. Naomi had to deal with the pain of great loss. Then to have to return home in a sense of shame. Now I want you to think about what I'm saying. She left a people looking for an opportunity to prosper. And when she came back, she came without her husband and her 2 sons. Y'all know how people would talk? Somebody, a family member who didn't want her to go from the beginning, might have whispered and said, we told her not to go. We told her it wasn't a good idea. What I want you all to understand was it was important for Naomi to go to Moab. It was important for Naomi's husband to die. It was important for Naomi's 2 sons to die. You say, Pastor, that sounds crazy. Why was it important? Because when you look at the lineage of Jesus Christ, you find that Ruth was the great-grandmother of Jesus Christ. So in your pain, there's an answer from God. Because God has a greater purpose and plan, even when you don't see and you don't understand. Tell somebody, I'm going from broken to strength. From empty to whole. The Bible says in Ruth 1:22, now Naomi returned and Ruth and the Moabites. Ruth the Moabites, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. When did they come? At the beginning of the season when they would begin the harvest. They didn't come to the country in a state of emptiness. They came back in a state of plentiness. Let me help you understand. They left when it was empty. They came back when it was full. Naomi left full. She came back empty, but she came back to full. Y'all ain't seen it. Even when you have ran out of resources, God has provision already made and ready for you. What you have to understand is you are not alone in your pain. Sometimes when you're going through, when you're just needing somebody to identify and connect with what you're going through, you hear stuff like, I'm so broken. You hear things in your mind and in your head, nobody loves me. You hear things like, I'm abandoned. I'm left alone. You hear stuff like, I'm not good enough. Yeah. You hear stuff like, this was a mistake. Y'all don't have to testify. Whatever you begin to hear that causes you to sink further and further into that depression or that grief or that thing that makes you feel as though there's no hope, I need you to remember you are not alone. You say, Pastor, that doesn't make any sense. You're telling me I'm not alone, but I don't feel like I have anybody with me. And what I'm telling you, there's God always present with you. Like Naomi, don't allow your emotions to dictate truth to you instead of God's word. And I wish that the church would come back to a place where God's word is the authority. That God's word is what helps me to understand where and what's going on in my life. We feel too much based on our realities. When things are uncomfortable, we think that something's the matter. But why can't you go through trouble? Or why can't you have hardship in your life and you can say all things work together for the good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose? Why can't we get to the place where when we're broken, why can't we say, I learned to be content because godliness with contentment is great gain? Well, why can't we say that in my weakness, then is he made strong? Why can't we say that I know that my Redeemer liveth? Don't allow your circumstances to dictate your truth. Your truth comes from the word of God. Anybody can testify what I'm saying? Yeah. Is the word of God your source of knowing what God's plan is for your life? When you allow your emotions and your hurt to cloud your eyesight, you will fail. Not only will you fail, but you will fail to see the glory of God. Because the Bible says the just shall live by sight. By what? Faith. And not by what? Sight. So what you looking around for? Why are you allowing your emotions to dictate what you feel? But when you trust God, you know that weeping may only endure. Anybody ever been through a night season? Anybody ever been through a night season? And then you have to remind yourself that this too shall pass because weeping may endure for a night. I don't feel good right now. I don't like what I'm going through, but I got to remind myself that I'm in a night season and weeping may endure. I'm in a night, but joy coming. Anybody feel your morning coming? Anybody know that you go out broken, but you go from broken. You go from broken to strength and from empty to whole. Because you got to remind yourself. You got to remind yourself. What are you reminding yourself? You got to remind yourself that this is only a season. There's a time and a season for everything. There's a time to be born. There's a time to die. There's a time to plant. There's a time to pluck up that which was planted. And what I'm telling somebody is, you feel as though you're empty. You feel as though there's no hope. But I'm telling you that your morning is coming. In the midst of her heartache, God was using her in a powerful way. And I wish that every woman could understand that you set an example for people to follow. People are watching you when you don't even know they are. If you're a mother, me and my 6 siblings will tell you that we watch everything our mother did. From church to home. We watch everything she did. Y'all ain't hearing me. And my little sister and I were talking. We watched my mom go through transitions of things. And one person perceived it one way, and another person saw it another way. But when God gave the evidence of why he allowed it to be, I was able to tell my little sister, but God allowed it to happen so that you can see that in spite of all challenges, he's still the God of all challenges. What I'm trying to get you to understand is mothers, hold on. Don't lose your faith. I don't care how dark it gets. I don't care how it hurts. Stand upon the word of God. Naomi had to realize that God is my source. Well, it's because Naomi, that Ruth found her way into Judah, Bethlehem. It's because of that she was connected to Boaz. Y'all know the story. You gotta hold on, even when you don't feel like you have the strength. Somebody said, but how do I hold on? What you gotta understand is not you holding this God. You just have to remember to stay with Him. Don't let your feelings cause you to move away from God. Anybody understand what I'm saying? Because Naomi trusted God, Jehovah. Ruth came to trust God, Jehovah. Let me say that again. Because you trust the Lord, your children will come to trust the Lord. Did y'all hear me? Yeah. Mothers, whatever you do, your children will do also. Yeah. Now, if you faking it, they're going to learn to fake it too. Yeah. If you're a fair weather believer, they're going to do that too. But if you trust God with everything that you have, they're going to say, I remember Mama didn't have, but she said, we're going to trust the Lord. Oh, yeah. They'll say, I remember many days Mama didn't eat, but she fed us, and somehow or another she was able to keep a smile on her face. So women, I encourage you, when you're broken, just know that there's wholeness coming. Yeah. When you're empty, just know that strength is coming. Just hold on. Just hold on. God used Naomi's brokenness. Can God use your brokenness? Can God use your brokenness? Or are you too bitter because of what you've been through? Or are you so shattered in pieces because you can't believe that happened to you? Come on now, talk to me, church. Can you get past your pain so that you can position yourself and let God use you? Can you do that? Can you do that? Or are you still calling yourself mine? You still calling yourself the bitter one? You still calling yourself the one who's empty? Because when you put a name upon yourself, that's how you act. But if you trust God, even in the midst of your pain, you will point people to the God that you trust. No matter what you're going through, no matter the pain, the heartache, or betrayal, God is at work. You got to know that. You say, well, if God is at work, why did He allow this to happen to me? He puts no more on you than you're able to do. And here's the best part about that. With the test, He also makes a way of escape. There's a way for you to get freedom from the thing that you feel bound. But you just have to keep looking to God, who is the author and finisher of your faith. I pray today, as I conclude this sermon, I wouldn't want to make you shout. I just want you to think about something. That you consider the story of Naomi. If Naomi is remembered for nothing else, she's remembered because she had a great loss. A woman who lost her husband and 2 sons. And then lost a daughter-in-law. We always talk about the characters. We talk about the people that God blessed and the things that He did that were so great. And those are the people we hold in high esteem. But let's remember Naomi. Naomi suffered great loss, and it was recorded. And from that loss came a mighty blessing. He said, what was the blessing, Pastor? A woman who did not know a God came to know God. And that woman became the lineage of Jesus Christ, our Savior. You know what I'm telling you? Somebody said, Pastor, I don't want to have to experience cancer. What if God allows cancer to come to your house so that as you're going through treatment and other things, you get to witness to some woman who every day, whenever you go to treatment, has to apply your treatment. And you trust God and you don't get sick. And every time they see you, you got a smile on your face. And they say, you know what? You go to church. And then you begin to witness and testify of how good God is. And they said, you know what? I've never seen anybody come through here like this and get healed as fast as you got healed. I need to come to what? Your church. See, God allow you to go through some hardship just so that they'll use your brokenness. Go in here. Somebody said, I never thought my husband would do this to me. God allowed your brokenness to be a testimony. And this is what I need the church to understand. We don't want to keep painting the picture to people that the God we serve keeps everything perfect. He keeps you from feeling pain. You always have money in your pocket. You always got better than anybody. And if that's the case, every one of us in here would be looking to see what's wrong with our way of worship. Because every one of you who live godly, you suffer something. You go through stuff. And death comes to your house just like everybody else's. Your children get wayward and do the same thing that world's children do. But the difference is we have hope. And that's what I want to remind the saints of today, mothers. Don't get weary because you feel the way you do. Stay encouraged. Let God take your brokenness and let Him make you whole. Let Him take your brokenness and give you strength. And let Him take you from empty to wholeness. He'll do it for you. He'll do it for you. God can bring good out of any pain. I know. You say, how do you turn a teenage pregnancy of my daughter into something joyous? Well, because rather than throwing her out and doing something that other people have done, you took the time to help her. And you kept her with you. And then she remembered how good her mama was. And now she wants to seek God because the love she felt from you has changed her life. You don't know what God's going to use and how He's going to use it. But just make certain that you stay in the right position and the right relationship with God. I am not a prophet to prophesy to you tonight or today about your condition of life and living, what's going to go on with you. What I'm telling you is if you live a while, you're going to need a challenge. Oh, yeah. If you live long enough, something's going to come to your house. But how will you respond? Can you stay true to yourself? Or will you change your name to bitter and empty? And when you understand that God is the same God in your plenty as He is when you don't have anything, you can trust and depend on Him. And my conclusion, your identity does not come from your brokenness. It's not what you don't have. It's not in who left you. It's not in what you're going through. But who you are is what God says you are. You understand that? Doesn't matter what label they put on you. If God said you the head, not the tail, they keep pushing you down, but you're going to always rise up. They can keep taking away from you, but God will always give you more. Because He is your source. Mothers, on this Mother's Day, whatever state you find yourself in, learn to be content. You don't have the money you want to have to do the things for your children that you want to do. Be content. You don't have the kind of relationship with your children's father that you want to have. Learn to be content. You said, Pastor, how do you be content when you want more from a man? Get more of God. And when you get more of God, let me tell you what I'm telling you. The sanctification of your life begins to sanctify that man. Because you'll understand that if I do the things that are pleasing to God, I also please Him. And when I don't please Him, God will even make my enemies. Let me say that. He'll make even your enemies to be what? At peace with you. The person that would hate you gonna find a way to love you. Because God touches the hearts of men. You know what I'm telling you? Seek to please God. Naomi is our testimony today. Great loss, broken, bitter. But she was reminded that I have a God who has never forsaken me. He's always provided. What do you say about your God? Does He provide for you always? Does He always meet your needs? Is He always good? Even when you don't like what He does, He's in control. That's hard, right? Because if God loved me so much, why did He go through this? Because He loves you, He keeps you in the midst of it. Amen? Amen. Mothers, keep yourself strong. Spend less time socializing and more time in prayer. You said, what do I socialize in? Well, nowadays, everybody captured by Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Internet, YouTube, all of that stuff. Put some of that stuff away. Get back to praying. And calling on the name of the Lord. Because I still believe that effectual fervent prayer of a righteous person availeth much. Y'all still believe that? How many of y'all believe that? How many believe that if you pray as a mother, God hears your prayer and He keeps your children? He keeps your grandchildren. He keeps them covered. Don't start worrying. Don't start fretting. Because the very God that kept you will keep your children. I know. It looks like the enemy's got a full hold of them. But guess what? Even when the devil thinks he got a hold of them, God still got the power to take them out of His hand. But you got to know that. You got to trust God. Without faith, it is impossible to please the Lord. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to it. It hurts. I'm not going to deny your pain. I'm not going to deny your pain. It hurts. But you got a God that knows how to apply the right medication. Let's trust Him. Women, as you leave this house today, love your children. Love your children. The ones that you haven't told that you're proud of them, even in the mess that they've gotten into, the fact that they didn't just give up and die is something to be proud of. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? I know you're disappointed, but the fact they're still moving forward. They may not be going as fast as you want them to go, but tell them, I'm proud of you. Nothing means more to a child than to know that my mama is pleased. I didn't say okay with everything that I do, but recognizes that I have accomplishments. Every person, even the dirtiest people, have accomplished something. Amen? Amen. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Amen. If they woke up this morning, they chose to get up out of the bed this morning. That's an accomplishment. So I'm just happy that you got up this morning. Because now you got a chance for God to speak to your heart. But you got to encourage people. My last word, control your tongue. Stop cursing your children and your grandchildren. Now, I didn't say cuss. Stop cursing your children and your grandchildren. When you get angry, watch what you speak over your children and your grandchildren. Watch what you say. You say, Pastor, you sound crazy. No. Stop saying you make me sick. That's what they're going to do. They're going to make you sick. You ain't going to be nobody. Stop telling them that. You tell them you're going through a struggle right now. You don't know who you are right now, but God's going to open your eyes. You're going to see. Speak life to your children. Speak life over your grandchildren. Amen? All right. Say it with me. God, we thank you for your help. We thank you for your mercy. Lord, we thank you for everything that you are. We know we do nothing without you. We stand here today. Bless these women who are mothers. If they're broken, God, give them strength. If they're empty, make them whole. That their lives may be instruments, tools that you use to reach the lost, to reach their children, their grandchildren. God, don't allow what's being said in their hearts and their minds regarding their failure, their pain, to be their truth. Don't allow them to accept that. But God, allow them to believe what your word says. That everything that you said and promised in your word, that you would do it. Bless fathers of the king. In Jesus'